Hello, Oshkosh Community Media. This is Ed Castron joining you again for Making It Happen. Right across from me, I have two friends of mine and two athletes for the Oshkosh Special Olympics, Jonathan Bogard and Jay Stenson. Um, thanks for joining me tonight.
You're welcome, man.
You're welcome, Ed.
So, or should I say, Sparky J Stenson and Jonathan Georgie Porgy Bogard, as I refer to him as the nicknames. So we'll start with Jonathan tonight. Jonathan, maybe you want to introduce yourself to the crowd, talk about a little about your family life and how your school and your disability, how that kind of affected you, and and just talk about how far you've come today.
I'm Jonathan Borgart, and schooling was okay for me. And in school, I did do regular classes, and I also did regular track and field too. So yeah, and family's good.
And you started Special Olympics right at 8?
Yes, right at 8 years old.
So you did track and field, and you did what other sports did you do?
Bowling, track and field for Special
Bowling,
Olympics.
track and field. And what kind of places did you do at first when you were young? Did you do really good, or?
I started out okay.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about more about your school, because I know you have Tourette's. How was the Tourette's a problem too? I mean,
I used to blurt out words, and I didn't mean it. In school, people were picking on me, and then actually had a friend come by, and my friend said, "Don't pick on John."
how bad did it get, John? How bad did the picking on get? Like, did it make you cry at times, or
No, it did not.
did you have a lot of friends in school?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And how helpful were the teachers?
Really helpful.
Yeah. And where did you end up going to, like, elementary school and high school?
Elementary school, I went to a whole bunch of schools. I cannot remember the names. High school, I went to Oshkosh West.
Yeah. And were they pretty understanding as far as your curriculum goes and stuff?
Yes, they were.
And Jay, do you want to share, since you and John are kind of best friends, do you want to share an old pastime story about Georgie Porgy over here? Do you want to about how you first met him and stuff? And
I first met him when I was over on the corner of South Park and Nap. Because a certain someone, and I'm not going to mention any names, was living in a group home, and I guess John here called him one night, and I was at home and that, and all of a sudden I seen this certain person come flying down the sidewalk of South Park Ave at pretty much a high rate of speed, so I figured I didn't really know what the heck was going on, so I probably shouldn't have tagged along with this certain person, but I did anyway, and because I guess John here basically told that certain person that he was having trouble with somebody or whatever it was, and by the time I got to his place over in 11th, Minnesota, young kid was doing whatever, and I guess because I guess he was having trouble with his bike and whatnot, and so basically, I was standing on their terrace, and this kid decided to take it upon himself to put his hand over the top of my head, which was a big mistake, but of course he didn't realize it at the time.
yeah. So that's how you guys met and stuff.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, like I said, this boy right here is one of very few people that actually have the guts enough to actually calm me down, because you do or say the wrong thing around me and you don't know what's going to come out in me, man. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah. So would you say he was a big influence on you joining the Special Olympics, or was it more Jim Blankenship, our former agency manager, which I want to dedicate the show to tonight too, because he was very important of all of our lives, and we'll talk about stories about him as we get further along. So yeah. Jay, do you want to talk more about Jim? And I mean, you joined.
Well,
you got to know Jim a little bit, but you want to talk more about Jim and what
well,
kind of influence he had?
like I said, when I first started, I didn't really know who the Blankenships were at the time, but I knew Matt, because Matt was a former boyfriend of this certain person's fiance, and I'm not going to mention any names. And when he, I guess, I knew I wasn't supposed to be hanging around West High School when they dedicated something to him. I shouldn't have been at West High School, but I was. But I decided to pay my respects to Matt and his sister Abby and their ma Ruth and that. So I walked up to Matt and I basically gave him a hug and I basically told him that I knew what it was like to lose someone that he loved and that he loved and admired as much as he did.
And
So-
and John, did you want to reflect a little bit on Jim? Because me and you both known Jim for quite a while.
I knew Jim for a long time. He was a good coach because he was kind of helping out coaching. He was the head one of Special Olympics. I did not know him at first, but after I got to know him, he was a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, and he was always willing to be there for anybody and anything. So
Yes, he was.
he I joined the Oshkosh program in 2003. So I known him for a good 5 years, and he was kind of, I don't know if you think of him as a father figure, but I thought of him as kind of a second dad. Because he helped out a lot of people. So and Jay, do you want to talk more about, introduce yourself and to the audience, and do you want to talk more about your schooling, and how
How it pretty much affected me and how Special Olympics basically affected my life and impacted my life in certain ways, right? Or
talk about how your disability with your lazy eye affected your schooling and that kind of thing?
I've gone to certain schools and had like Roosevelt and South Park, and then I got jumped up to West High School. I mean, basically adapting from middle school to high school was a bit of a challenge, but as I went along, it basically was like, okay, I mean, when I first stepped into high school, I didn't really know what the hell I was getting myself into. Pardon my French. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I went to the over by the high school office to get my school IDs and whatnot, and then all of a sudden I'm in there, and one of the teachers, I guess, came over and
What did you find most challenging as far as adapting?
the layout of the high school and that. I mean, going from middle school to high school, trying to adapt to that, and well, I knew some of the kids that I had in middle school were actually some of my old middle school buddies that I knew, because I've known David and Jason Kamine for a good long time, and they're good friends of mine. I pretty much grew up with them, so other than that, once I got the hang out of the layout of the land of high school, it pretty much became like second nature to me. I mean, basically, I was supposed to graduate in '94, but apparently the teachers that I had back at that time thought that I wasn't ready to graduate, and they basically held me back a year, which of course I probably shouldn't have done what the heck I did, but I
Yeah.
did something stupid, so I basically I figured, well, if you guys are going to hold me back, then, I mean, there were a few teachers there that I knew that I recognized from middle school, but then there were others that I really didn't.
Were you treated pretty good, or were you picked on, or?
I got picked on by a certain kid that I thought I knew from my childhood, but I mean, every time I'd be at my locker, I'd look over my left shoulder or my right shoulder or whatever. I'd look over my right shoulder, and he'd coming down the hallway over by C15 and that, and he basically would whisper something into the guy that he was walking, because he had a guy next to him. He'd kind of whisper in his ear, and he'd freaking tell him to shove me into my locker pretty much every day. I mean, that became a common occurrence. After at the end of the
So pretty
school
much
day.
getting bullied, huh?
Well, yeah, because I guess the kid, obviously, the kid that was actually doing it was actually doing the guy that he was walking with it was actually a favor, basically. But I knew exactly where the kid's locker was, but I wasn't going to be stupid enough to go down there and try to pick a fight with him, being outnumbered by a bunch of other students milling around and who knows how many teachers.
Yeah. Did you have a whole lot of friends?
Yeah, I had, like I said earlier, I had
Like who was your best friend besides John Bogart in the
besides
special?
John Beauregard here, the best friend that I grew up with was a guy by the name of Chuck Zwack, David Kamine, and pretty much anybody from that era, I guess, so to speak. But other than that, I mean, some of the, like I said, there were a few of the teachers that I actually knew from like middle school and that, but one of them that I actually used to do favors for a lady by the name of Miss Aronis, and John knows who the heck I mean by that one. He should know Miss Aronis by now, don't you, John?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
Yeah, because like I said, I used to do attendance for her back at South Park, but that was pretty much it.
Okay. And John, now, do you want to talk a little bit about your school experiences, like through elementary and so on and so on?
I can't remember about elementary, but high school, they actually gave me a job to work in the kitchen by serving fries.
Oh yeah, and how did your ADHD kind of affect you in high school? Did you have trouble keeping attention with stuff?
I kept good attention.
No.
But I did have some, problems with other stuff, but I just go ask the teacher, and then the teacher would have somebody sit over by me and help me do it.
Okay. And then you said you remember stuff about high school. What do you remember?
Serving fries, getting paid for it, and I also did track and field for Oshkosh West High School.
Okay. Oh, you did for the high school besides Special Olympics.
Yes,
Okay.
and
What events did you compete in for the high school?
just shot put.
Just shot put. Were you pretty good in the high school shot put as well?
I was kind of bad, but everybody else was throwing farther than me. But my coach said, "Do your best," so that's what I did.
Was the regular track team accepting of you? Were they okay with you?
They accepted me all the time. The coach did too.
That was pretty
And
awesome.
some of the guys also showed me like different techniques for shot put too.
Wow. Did you feel accepted then?
Yes, I did.
It's good. So, a question to both of you: how has Special Olympics kind of impacted your life? I know it's kind of an open-ended question.
It impacted my life a lot because I met new people.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I've met new
Like-
people. I've met.
Do you want to share any stories that you remember particularly?
I can't remember no stories.
Jay?
Well, I know Special Olympics has basically affected my life in a positive way. It's given me a positive attitude. It's given me a chance to meet new people, go places that I really didn't really know or understand that actually existed till I became a part of this. I mean, like I said before, earlier, that I've had some rough patches when I first started out, but other than that, I've pretty much looked ahead. I haven't even looked back since then, so I don't really recall any stories about Special Olympics. I mean, I've been a part of Special Olympics since like 2009, 2010. So, other than that, it's like I said, it's given me the opportunity to go places and meet new people and basically experience different things that I never really knew existed. So, other than that, I mean, they basically treated me like part of like an extended member of their family, and that's pretty much the way it goes, I guess. I don't know.
Has it helped your confidence too?
Oh, definitely. It's given me a new. Let's just put it this way. It's basically given me a new lease on life. It basically gives me an opportunity to look ahead, look to the future, or whatever, and basically it's made me who I am, I guess.
Yeah, because we're all basically one big family, aren't we?
Yep.
We're always there to support each other,
Yeah.
cheer each other on,
Yeah,
And
definitely.
other athletes we cheer on
lift
too.
each other up.
Yeah, other athletes from like the same agency that we're at,
Or other agencies.
exactly, John.
I have a story to share. When I was 15 years old, when I was with the Neilsville Special Olympics, it was back in 92 when I won my first gold medal for the 100 meter. It gave me the feeling of acceptance. When you win that first medal, it kind of gives you the sense of belonging. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not there.
definitely.
It lets you know you guys belong, because some people don't have acceptance. Like when they first join Special Olympics, they have a rough family life. Some of them even in other countries.
Oh, definitely.
Some of them even, if they didn't have Special Olympics, some of them even get killed, because I heard a story from Kenya that some kids got killed because they didn't, they worked themselves into a different, it helped their part of life, self-esteem, and they didn't even have, the parenting was not the best, so, because of culture and stuff too, so it really can go a long ways. But yeah, just winning that first gold medal at 15 really gives you the confidence, and it makes you believe that anything can happen, so.
Definitely.
And 20 gold medals later, I still get the same jitters and the same feeling. That's why I keep doing it.
It's just a natural feeling. It's just something that you just. It's just like I said. It's nervous jitters, basically. I mean, you know what I mean?
20 to 30 gold medals. Actually, all the medals put together, that's pretty good.
So, on that note, do we want to talk about our recent medals that we won? John, do you want to start first?
Yes, I had 7th place in my 100-meter run. I had about 8 people. And then shot put, I had 8, and this is my first place, gold medal. And then for the 4x100-meter relay, we had about 7 teams.
For the relay?
Yes, for the relay.
And tell the audience how much time you had in between the relay and the 100.
Probably about a minute or two because first I did the 100 and then the relay was right afterwards. It was back to back, so I had to hurry up and catch my breath. It was not long before we started the relay.
And you probably were really tired, and
Yes,
you probably were gassed, huh?
Yes.
What do you think? Every time you compete at state, what's a couple things that you take away or that you don't take for granted that you normally, or do you take anything for granted usually, or?
No, I'm just there to get better and better and better.
Mm-hmm. And you're there to meet new friends and quote unquote ladies?
Yes.
Okay. Jake, you want to talk a little bit more about your?
Well, this thing right here. This is the second place medal that I had won when I was up in Neenah for a skills basketball tournament, because I didn't really know at that time. I didn't really know how I was going to place or where the heck I was going to place, but I didn't know until after I got the medal that one of the other Special Olympic coaches that was there that actually took us up there. It was me, Stephen Ranke, and Curtis and whoever else. We all rolled up in our truck and up to Neenah, up at Neenah High School. And usually before a big event, I'm usually somewhere on the sidelines, like pacing back and forth like a caged animal. But once it gets closer to like game time, I'm usually trying to get into like a zone or something. And once I get this certain look on my face, it's like game on. And
do you get your game face like I do, and I get all like intense and ready? And
exactly. I mean,
I'm ready to go, right?
Exactly. It's like open the damn gate and let me loose or something. It's like I said. I mean, John knows when I usually pace back and forth. He knows what that usually means, don't you, John?
Yes, I do.
And he knows. He's pretty much one of the only guys that I'll ever let frickin' step in front of me and try to calm me down, because he knows what I'm capable of when I get ticked off.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, you do or say the wrong thing around me, and I get this one look in my eyes, and it's like,
Yeah.
you're like, do I really want to take a chance? It's like, do you really want to roll the dice and take a chance and get in your you-know-what kicked? Well,
Yeah. But you take that energy out on the track or basketball or whatever.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And then if you want to freaking blow off some steam, just like wait till you get home or something to go to like go to find like maybe a punching bag or something to take your aggression out on.
Yeah. Well, I want to share about my medals quick here. I got a gold medal for the 200-meter wheelchair, which I was the only one at state because nobody wants to challenge me in the long distance races. So here's a shout out to somebody in the regional that wants to challenge me. I dare you. And this one was my 200. No, it was my 100 meter that I did in my fastest time this year. I did in 57 seconds.
Wow.
And my shot put, I won for the second consecutive year. I won it through Oshkosh this year, but last year I won it through Fond du Lac. And I threw 460. No, it was 4 meters 60. So, it was 4 meters 60. And so now I want to talk about how you can become. I think we have a slide here of how you can become a local athlete, to contact the regional office, how you can become an Oshkosh athlete, coach, or volunteer. Contact Hope Fenrick at gmail.com, as you can see there on the screen. And would you talk more about, having hope, and you guys would you talk more about having? Yeah, that's the regional address,
Regional phone number.
the regional phone number too. And so do you guys want to talk more about having hope and what she kind of means? Because without having agency manager, none of this would be possible.
Yeah, this whole organization wouldn't be what it is today without certain agency managers that we've had in the past and the present and probably in the future. So
Well-
having Hope Fenrick as a coordinating manager is pretty much basically giving this organization a swift kick in the rear end that it's needed ever since our former coordinating manager decided to retire. So I don't know if John would agree with that statement or not, but
How and how would you guys, because our athletes are aging.
yeah, we're not getting any
Excuse me,
younger.
our athletes are aging. So how would you increase membership and that kind of stuff?
How would we increase?
Just have more people like call Hope or whatever, see if we can get new athletes to come and join us.
Yeah, because we're always looking for newer athletes who want to experience the kind of things that we've done and gone where we've gone and that. And I mean, we've gone to places that most people wouldn't even get a chance to. I mean, so in other words, hey, if you want a fresh start in a different organization, you're more than welcome to come on board if you want. It's up
And
to you.
volunteers too. We're always looking for volunteers.
we need volunteers.
Definitely.
And if
New
we can put that
volunteers,
graphic
I mean,
up there again for Hope's.
Either-
I know we just did, but can we put it up there again? Yeah, if you want to volunteer locally, or if you want to volunteer locally, just email Hope. She'd be more than willing to work with you. And if you want to become a local Oshkosh coach or volunteer, we'd be more than willing to work with you and have you, because we have a variety of sports. We have bowling, basketball, track, bocce, and I'm going to start tennis in maybe next week or the week after, but I'm going to do it through Fond du Lac. So,
and if you have to try to get a hold of.
and here are some photos of me. That's me and my friend Sam from, and that's me and Jay at bocce. Remember when we took fourth place, Jay?
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember
And
that.
that's me in my probably about 26 years old or so. And that's me and my niece Cora. No, Sophie, excuse me. And that's Erica and me and Troy and Brandon and a bunch of other coaches. And that's me and John Kemp and Linda and Darlene, which I miss dearly, and Coach Sharon.
May she rest in peace.
Yes. And that's me and my friend Erica
At Alpen.
Point. And that's me just last week. So, but yeah, so where would you guys like to see Special Olympics maybe in 5 or 10 years? Like, what kind of changes would you like to see?
Like more people like helping and like have a
More athletes.
Okay.
like more agencies, like joining us.
Yeah,
Now
'cause
the-
like I said, we're always looking for newer agencies that want to try to become a part of a different family and that. And
what would you like to see Hope change? Maybe in the next 5 years, just you know.
That's I don't know, cause I'm sure we're probably gonna be seeing her. Cause we got a.
I know we want to start volleyball and that kind of stuff. So, you know, we want to start volleyball and that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, something like that. Usually playing on sand or something because there's a place on Main Street. There's a place called Legend Sports Bar that
But-
has a volleyball area.
but
and
in
there's-
closing, what I have one last question. What would you tell with somebody with a disability if they want to try something new? Maybe if they want to expand their horizon.
Come and join the Special Olympics because we're all a family, and if they need help, we will help them do their best.
Exactly.
Because it's the family is important, and don't be afraid to dream and try, and
Yeah,
maybe
just do-
bring out
just-
something new in an individual that they've never experienced
And
before,
just
right?
do your best. Whether you win, lose, or draw, it don't matter. Just try the best you can and do the best you can. I mean, whether you just do the best you can. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. In closing, I would just like to say, always challenge yourself, and never fear to like my poem said last night. Never fear to dream. Never fear to try. So, yeah, just keep challenging yourself, pushing yourself to the absolute limit, because you never know. And if you're a parent out there of a disabled child, don't hold them back. Let them be who they want to be. Let them be them. Let them be themselves. Because when I was growing up, I felt like a little boy trapped in a wheelchair. So, but now that I've been walking and increasing my days, and I think I'm on 1232 today. So, yeah, if you're a parent of a disabled child, just let them be who they want to be. And if they want to compete in Special Olympics, let them go and let them try new avenues. And let them be who they want to be, and you'd be surprised on what they can do in their abilities. But thank you for joining us, and this is Edward Kessler for Making It Happen, and see you next time.